Really what attaches your soul to your vessel, the vessel that you're in, it's the I am, the awareness. I am John, I am Max, I am here in this world, I exist. Your soul is attached to that I am. If they can get you in a mainframe and get you in a virtual world where you still believe I am, then your soul is still attached to that. It's a place that I believe is called the Well of Souls. And the whole talk of wanting to bring this huge demonic entity into being, Satan, whatever you want to call it, whatever you believe it is, apparently it needs a certain amount of souls to do that. And I think that's what they do. They trap people into the mainframe. And I think they've done this before. And I think that's why it's so difficult to wake a lot of people up, is because they're already in the mainframe. I think half the people out there aren't even real people. They're just minds, consciousness that's driving an avatar that thinks that they're real, but they're not. They're not really alive. They're in the mainframe already. And I think that's what all this is about. Of course, you're not going to get all the people to do it, so you need to depopulate. It's like people farm. You've got to have all of this excess stuff around. It's like the corn flour in the stew to thicken the stew, There's only really a certain amount of real conscious people in here. And they want those souls. They want those conscious souls. They want them trapped in that mainframe. That's where they get their energy from. It's like a flame. It's like a fire. It's like electricity for them. It's the energy they need to power this demonic, whatever it is they're creating. That, people will have all different religious concepts about what it is. I don't even go there. I just know it's a powerful, energetic, conscious force that exists. And it's the other side of what we're really connected to. They're trying to disconnect us from that and get us into the mainframe. That's what I think a lot of it is about. And I think that we have an opportunity to actually get through it this time. I think this is going to be one of the last resets that they do. It gets very esoteric for a lot of people. You go back, looking at the giant trees that used to exist, the silicon trees that are now tabletop mountains, the silicon life that used to exist, the giants that used to be here, the water canopy that Jason talks about that used to be overhead, which would make it possible for things to grow to enormous sizes, and which is also talked about in the Bible and all sorts of places. You'll find references to a water canopy, what caused the great flood when the canopy fell, all of this sort of stuff, rain for 40 days and 40 nights. And the story of the great flood exists in all cultures, in all countries. So we know there has been events like this. Whether there's been more than one, we don't know. But I think every time they do this, they reduce us as well, reduce us in size. As I've said, we think we're so big and we think we're this and we're that. I think we're tiny. We're like the fairies, but we've lost our wings. And we're running around in long grass thinking that these are trees, but they're not. They're long grass. The trees were the silicon trees, the giant tabletop mountains that went up for miles. I don't think anything is what we're told. I've said before, I think we're basically living in the floor of a mine, and that as they're mining the earth, they need smaller and smaller people with smaller and smaller machines to get all the fine stuff out there. So we're at the point now, we're like, a tenth the size or a hundredth the size of what we originally started off as being. And I think this is the last reset. A lot of what they're doing is trapping souls, but really when you look at it on a deeper level and you look at it all as being one thing and one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively, well, then it's a form of soul purification as well. I believe that whatever comes through this reset, we need a certain amount of consciousness to make it through. Obviously, the more awake people, the more people who have the knowledge of what happened now that get through to the other side, then the better it's going to be for us, the better it's going to be for consciousness in general. So I've been saying to people, even bury time capsules and do all sorts of stuff. Just preserve this information. So how this all went down is preserved, because the people on the other side of the reset are going to have no reference point for what happened. The kids who grow up into this digital world are going to have no reference point for what freedom looks like. So it's our responsibility to preserve that. So I try to inspire and empower people, but ultimately now it's got to the point that it's virtually every man for himself. You've got to be true to yourself. Sure, help people, try to inspire people around you, but keep your focus on your heart and yourself, because you're the one that needs to get through this. And you're the only one that can do it. It doesn't matter about the other people. But every time you comply with something that you know is wrong, you're giving away a little bit more of your soul. You're chipping away at it until you don't have any. You come here to get this information and take it with you to the other side. You're not going to give away your soul along the way. That's what it's really all about. So that's the way you've got to look at it. It's a form of soul purification more than anything else. Be true to yourself and believe in yourself, and you'll make it through. And will you survive? Well, it doesn't matter, because you came here to die anyway. The art of being able to face with serenity odds and circumstances not included in your calculations, and simply go with the flow and do it, because it's the next part of the journey, whatever that journey is and wherever it takes you, even if it takes you to the other side. What if coming here is really about the emotional and energetic and heart state you are in when you leave the realm? Are you prepared to be in this state of fear and horror and do all this stuff and have given away your soul and given away everything that it means to be you while you're here, because you're so scared of what's going to come after, which is going to come anyway? People have just got to shift their perspective a little bit and see what this is really all about. I mean, I think we come here to grow our souls. That's what it's really about. And ultimately, it's purification. It's a purification, getting rid of all the baggage. Don't worry about what the consensus is. Worry about what's in your own heart and follow your own heart, because that's what's going to get you through.